The worst kind of silence to me actually are people who are posting All Lives Matter. For me, that is a very special kind of silence. It's a very painful kind of silence because it removes our voice. It doesn't allow us to express our very specific pain. And it's worse because they're purporting to be advocates.
When we're saying Black Lives Matter and we're saying, you know, Black lives are valued and they're important and Black voices are important, to then hear, well, all lives matter, it just seems like someone who is looking for a distraction or a way to derail the conversation.
At first, when that first became like a hashtag, it was like, so you really don't get it? Like, how is that your response to me saying Black Lives Matter?
Like, no one would ever go to a breast cancer walk and criticize them for talking about breast cancer. You wouldn't walk up to someone who has experienced breast cancer, survived it, or someone who's lost somebody from breast cancer and say, how dare you talk about breast cancer? Why not talk about colon cancer? How dare you exclude other cancers? You would never do that.
If your wife asks you, like, am I pretty? And you're like, all people are pretty. I think everyone's beautiful. You know, do you love me? I love everyone. It's probably not going to go over well in your family, right? Your wife is probably going to have a problem with that because what she wants in that moment is specificity. You know, what's desired in that moment is to be seen in her unique experience with you. And that's what Black people are asking for right now, is to be seen in our unique experience in the world, to actually be seen and valued.
You know, when you look at the systemic racism in this country, historically, Black lives have not mattered. And when I hear all lives matter, what I always want to say, and kind of what's really important to me to clarify, is that no one's saying that your life doesn't matter. But what we're saying, and I've seen this protest sign, you know, in the past couple of weeks, all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
I think there are some people out there that just truly don't get that concept at all. They're thinking we're trying to be bigger or more important than all life or other lives, and that's just not the case.
Black Lives Matter, as well, right?
There's definitely people who say it just to, you know, they want to be agitators or whatever, but there are definitely people who just don't understand it.
Because before Black Lives Matter, before that movement, no one was saying all lives matter. Like, no one felt the need to, like, position themselves that way.
You know, we've got this thing about labels, right? And it's like, I would like a world without labels. And I would like a world without labels too. But you actually can't get to a world without labels until you identify all the labels we're ignoring.
When Black lives actually matter, then all lives will matter, because of the institution that we set up in this country, built on the backs of Black people and slaves. Like, they were property. And we're still fighting through those social stigmas that Black people are kind of still property. I mean, look at that woman in Central Park.
There is an African-American man. I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I'm being threatened by a man in the ramble. Please send the cops immediately.
Like, she could just make a comment and be like, I could ruin your life. Like, in New York City, in Central Park, this woman voted for Obama. She's a Democrat. Like, and like, it's still like, inside of us that we are still, as people of color, property that can be like manipulated. So like, I believe that people need to educate themselves on what Black Lives Matter actually means. It's not just a saying, like, understand what it means.
The same thing happened with Black Power in the 1970s, power to the people. And all, like, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, you know, this is hate speech. It's like, no, you know, it's not hate speech. We're talking about equity. We're not talking about supremacy. We're talking about equity. I'm saying I'd like to be on an equal playing field. I'd like to be given the equal chances, equal privileges, equal opportunities, a right to live my life safely, a right to get a decent education, a right to have decent food in my base. This is basic stuff because my life matters. My life matters. And if you say, no, all lives matter, what I would say is, I believe that you believe that all lives matter, but because I live the life that I live, I am certain that in this country, not all lives matter. I know for a fact, based on the numbers, my life hasn't mattered, that Black women's lives definitely haven't mattered, that Black trans people's lives haven't mattered, that Black gay people's lives haven't mattered, that we can run the list, that immigrants' lives don't matter. We could do that. There are Muslims' lives that don't matter. The indigenous people of this country's lives have never mattered. I mean, we could go on and on and on. So when we say all lives, are we talking about white lives? And if so, then let's just say that. Because it's coded language. It's coded language.